Hey everybody, this video is going to show you how to replace a seized pool anchor that looks like this or maybe like that, and we're going to put in a new one, brand new brass one over here. So if you need to know how to replace this is the video for you. I've got a mesh pool safety cover that goes on in the off season, and to keep that cover in place there's about 20 of these anchor points around the pool. Now, these anchors you could use an Allen head to raise, and then once it's raised about ½ an inch, you tension it with a spring-loaded mechanism that goes around this point, and that keeps the tension on the cover. Inevitably, over time, these will collect a lot of grit and dirt in the bottom of them. Best thing to do is just to wash it out with a hose. You don't want to use any type of lubricant or WD-40 or Vaseline or something, because anything sticky will just collect the dirt and it'll fill up these threads. In this case, this anchor is working fine, but I've got a couple of anchors here that look like this. So they've been seized in the past. In this case, you can see it's been cross-threaded. Maybe the previous owner did that, maybe his kids did that when they were playing with it. But I've got about 6 or 7 of these that need to be replaced. So this video is going to show you how to replace all of these seized anchors. I bought brand new anchors on Amazon. They were less than $5 each. They came in a pack, I think, of 10. And they also came with a tamping tool, which we need to use to insert these into the concrete. I'll show you how to do that later in this video. So here we go. All right, we're going to take a minute to go through the tools that you'll need for this project. The first thing you'll need is a cordless drill. In my case, I'm using a DeWalt 20 volt. You'll need, of course, the new anchors. You'll need a 7/32 inch steel drill bit. Okay. You're going to need a tapping bit. Now this tapping bit is a 1/4 which means that when you've tapped the hole that you're going to make with your drill bit, and you insert this into the hole and thread the inside of the hole, then to thread into that you will use a 1/4 bolt. Now this is a carriage bolt. It's 3 inches long. It's a 1/4. They come in different grades. You do not want the cheapest grade because you may snap it off inside the hole. So I would recommend getting grade 5 or above. Okay, along with your 1/4 3-inch long carriage bolt, which you can get at any home supply store, you're going to need 1/4 nuts. I would get a couple of those, and actually while you're at it, get a couple of these just in case you break one. You're going to need a fender washer and some smaller washers, and you're going to need a 7/16 inch wrench. You could use a crescent wrench, an adjustable wrench, or you can use a fixed wrench like this. This next piece is a little different. Now this is a 7/8 inch socket, and you don't have to use a socket. I use a socket because it's a cylinder and it's strong steel, and the important thing is that one end is wide enough to accept your anchor, and in my case the other side is narrower, and that helps because I'm trying to reduce the diameter with these washers so that I can then insert my carriage bolt. So it doesn't have to be a socket, but what you need is a piece of steel that's a couple inches high and has a large enough diameter on one side to accept the anchor, and the other side, if you have a large diameter, like if you're using a piece of pipe, you're just going to need some more large fender washers to reduce that diameter down so you're able to just fit that carriage bolt right through, because that's what you want to see at the end. I've also got the tamping device that came with the new anchors, and I've got a hammer. Okay, just before we continue, I just want to talk through a couple of things. This is a 1/4 tap. You can buy these individually or in a set. It's a lot cheaper to just buy the one that you need. When you buy this 1/4 tap, on the package it will note the diameter of the drill bit that you need to use. In this case, on the package it said a 7/32 inch drill, and what we're effectively doing is going to drill a hole through the center of our anchor. Once we've gotten down a couple of inches, we're going to extract the drill bit, and we're going to use the tap to then thread that hole, right? So we're creating a thread on the inside of this hole where there used to be an Allen head receptacle here. Once we've done that, we're going to thread in our bolt. Our bolt will hold onto those threads, and as the bolt gets turned, it'll pull up the anchor. It'll extract the anchor from the concrete. So it's really important that you buy the correct tap and the correct bit. I'm using a 1/4 because I found it really easy to then find 1/4 hardware. You could use a 5/16, something a little larger, but you have to make sure you get the right bit to go with it and the right hardware to thread into it. You could do a little searching online, and you can find off-the-shelf kits that you could probably order on Amazon, and they include the tap, the bit, the hardware and maybe a little piece of pipe and the fender washers that you need. And this all comes as a kit. In my case, I knew I could find the correct parts at the local hardware store, so that's why I'm sharing this process with you. First step is to drill a hole. Again, brass is a soft metal, it's not going to take a lot of effort. I've set my speed to 1, so it's a low speed. I've set my clutch fairly high, and I'm going to start drilling this hole out right now. Fairly low speed. So how can you tell when you've gone far enough? Well, in my case, you drill through the inside of the anchor, and then the bit falls down into a cavity. You see the inside of the anchor is not as long as the tube, so when you drill through it, you hit the bottom, and then your drill bit falls down another 1/4 inch. So I know that I've got a nice clean hole through the center of this anchor. You can see now I've got all these brass filings around the hole from drilling it out. I want to take a second to vacuum those up or sweep them up so that they don't get stuck into people's feet as they walk around the pool deck. Okay, next step, I've swapped out my drill bit for my tapping bit. Most people wouldn't put one of these into a drill. I'm going to put it into a drill, but bear in mind I'm going to go very, very slow. That's the key here. You could put this on a pair of vice grips, you could put these on a proper tapping head, but in my case I'm just going to use a drill. I'm just going to go slow. The squeaking means it's working. The squeaking is actually you cutting out the brass, which again is pretty soft, and it's no match for the tapping head. Okay, now I've got my seized anchor, but it's threaded on the inside of that hole. I've got a 3-inch long 1/4-20 carriage bolt. You could use threaded rod. The key is it's 1/4-20. It's fairly strong, so it's not going to pull apart. You've got a piece of pipe, or in my case a 7/8 inch socket, a couple of washers, and a nut. And the next thing I'm going to do is put this 1/4-20 nut on the carriage bolt. I threaded that nut on right to the end of the carriage bolt. Now I'm going to place my socket over top of the anchor. I'm going to put my washers on top. Okay, we're just trying to reduce the size here so that the carriage bolt has some purchase. That nut's going to sit on top of those washers. I can thread this in by hand. I can feel around, I can get that threaded right into the hole, and I'm going to thread it down as far as I can by hand. Just turning this clockwise until it goes down as far as it will. And it's starting to bite, so again I'm going to position my socket or pipe underneath, and it feels fairly tight. Now I got my 7/16 inch wrench, which fits under my 1/4-20 nut. I'm going to start turning that clockwise. And what I'm actually doing is drawing up that carriage bolt, and along with it the anchor that it's threaded into. And I can actually see this. I don't know if you can see this on the video, but I can see it coming up slowly. At some point it's going to pop, and that'll be the top of the anchor coming out of the concrete. Okay, there's no pop, but it all of a sudden got a lot easier to turn. I think it's a good sign. I'm going to turn a couple more times around, take off the wrench, see if I can wiggle this up by hand. Oh, there we go. There we go. The anchor is still threaded onto the bolt, but it's been extracted from the hole, and a little bit of concrete around the edge that's come out, but it's to be expected. Just going to brush the excess back into the hole, and then we're going to work on putting a new anchor in. We've got a nice clean hole, and we've got the anchor to put in it, the new anchor. First thing to do is take out the center part, the bolt if you will, and just leave the nut. Pop that into the hole. As you can see in the anchor, it's only the very top part that actually compresses into the hole. The very top 1/4 inch or so is wider than the rest of the shaft, so it goes in very easily until you get to that top 1/4 inch. And to push that down and keep it there securely and keep it from spinning, you use this tamping tool. And all that does is slip in here and put all the pressure from your hammer blows onto the bottom and not onto the threads, and not onto the actual anchor. So you pop it right in there, and then you grab your hammer. Okay, now the anchor is seated just below the surface of the concrete, and hoping it has some purchase there, I'm going to reinsert the bolt into it, tighten that down, use my Allen head to check it. Okay, turning and turning, and it goes down, and it's nice and snug. I don't need to over tighten it. I don't want to cause the whole thing to slip, in the fall, I want to just be able to back that out easily. So there you go. The new anchor is in, and the seized anchor is replaced, and we're all set to put the pool cover in come fall.